Morning and welcome to Good Morning Anambra Show. It's Monday episode on ABS Television, and we are here, as usual, to interact with you, to get us informed on the happenings around the globe, and of course, to know what is happening in our state, Anambra. Thank you so much for always waking up with us on Good Morning Anambra. Today is Monday, the 17th day of September 2023. My name is Nonya Nwokoye, hoping that you have a wonderful day even as you join us as we go ahead on Good Morning Anambra Show today. You're welcome. Let's begin with the press review. All right, it seems I'm actually trying to chase September to where I wouldn't know. Today actually is the 11th day of September, not 17th, like I earlier said. Sorry about that. It's a mix-up. And let's welcome you proper to the press review. On the press review, as you know, is a time we take a look at some of our national dailies to know stories trending. And of course, what is happening in the state, or within the state, around the state on ABS website. I've been joined this morning by a public affairs analyst, Samuel Ololo. You're welcome to the studio, Samuel.
Thank you very much, Noye. Good morning, Anambra. Daluno.
All right, let's begin. We start with taking a look at some of the stories making their headlines in front on ABS website. Let's see stories on ABS website. Anambra State government to upgrade state pharmaceutical centers central store. FG gives contractor 48 hours to fix deplorable portions of Amansi Omonia axis of Enugu-Onitsha Express Road. Operatives of Anambra State Police Command rescue kidnapped victim at Obosi. Mrs. Soludo receives more commendations on healthy living initiative. All right, Ololo, a lot of stories making the headlines on ABS website. Where are we beginning?
Okay, for me, I have been an advocate of better healthcare in Anambra State. We are part of the team in Anambra that is pushing for a project that we call Fix My PHC. And at that Fix My PHC, one of the issues we have always noted is availability of drugs at the primary health care centers.
Drugs, right?
Yeah, drugs, yes.
Okay.
Even if you go to some of the general hospitals, that is the secondary facilities, they also sometimes complain about availability of drugs. So for the state pharmaceutical center to be upgraded, and I think it's a good one. What next remains is let there be that synergy between these pharmaceutical centers to the available health facilities,
centers, okay.
Especially at the primary health care centers. Beyond this availability of drugs, we also want our leaders to fashion out how they can relate, because there is one thing to have drugs at the state center, then because of selfish or self-interest, people might decide not to still patronize them. Overall, what we want is a better life in Anambra and then in Nigeria. And then talking about that, it's now taking me to the novel healthy living initiative of Mrs. Soludo. We need to live healthy to really become productive. And anything that we are doing should really be in line with the expectations of human want.
And to be alive to
of
enjoy
course.
the world. You have suffered to get at the end of the day.
Thank you. Most times in Nigeria, we spend the youthful period of our time pursuing money. And when we get old, we now spend the remaining time using that money to take care of ourselves. But if we can adopt this healthy living lifestyle, we'll be better for it.
Okay, let's go. We see operatives of Anambra State Police Command rescue kidnapped victim at Obosi. Actually, when I went through that story, according to reports gathered by ABS, you know, that they've taken the person, you know, and the residents saw the police coming immediately and had to show them the way that the kidnappers followed. They had to trail the kidnappers and rescue the victims.
So for me, I think this goes to underscore the importance of collaboration between the citizens and the police. There's always been this mantra that the police is your friend. When the citizens see the need that the police is actually working in their favor, I bet you the police would begin to record massive success. For the victim that was kidnapped, we thank God for his life. This is an experience no one would really want to pass through for any reason. I had a friend who was traveling by road to Abuja, a young lady who was also kidnapped. Till tomorrow, she has not come out of it. She barely goes out. And then this is to use this opportunity to laud the governor for the security initiative that he initiated, that he brought up in the state. Over the months, the cases of kidnap is reducing. The cases of course, what we know in Anambra State, unknown gunmen is reducing because of the strategy and tactics they deployed. It is a good one. So beyond that, the police should understand that intelligence gathering is important. And I don't know to what extent they relate with locals to get intelligence. But initially, there is this balance that when you report to a policeman or when you report a case to the police, you become the first suspect and they would even hold you down. For a long time now, that has been reducing, and let it be sustained, because we want a safe Anambra State, we want a safe Nigeria. That is only when we can attract investors. That is also when we can even grow economically. Otherwise, we will continue to cry without knowing what is really making us cry, not even knowing that we are the ones cleaning ourselves. But overall, I think the security in Anambra State is very laudable, and it needs to be sustained, and the citizens must get involved in it.
All right, let's run. Daily Sun newspaper is the first paper for review. Let's see stories making their headlines in front of the Daily Sun newspaper. Tinubu Atiku legal battle shifts to U.S. Court hears Chicago University case tomorrow. We have riders there. Okay, not for that. Court hears Chicago University case tomorrow. That's the rider. Now we can see the picture in front of the Daily Sun newspaper. That's U.S. President Biden taking selfie with Director General World Trade Organization, WTO, our own Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, on the sideline of G20 summit in India last weekend. Now, 24 dead, 30 rescued in Niger boat mishap on Niger. Insecurity, Catholic bishops task government on arms proliferation demand cut. We also have FARC allocation. States shared of 1.51 trillion naira in 6 months. That's coming from Naiti. Delta receives highest, Ekiti, Ebonyi, Nasarawa lowest. United Nigeria Airline gets nod for flights to US, UK, Netherlands, Italy, United Arab Emirates, and Ireland. Subsidy removal, Serap gives 36 governors 7 days to disclose details of spending of the 2 billion naira palliative. Ogun State government explains demolition of plaza of ex-governor Daniel's wife. FCTA officials uncover fraudulent land racket. Court sacks Rep. Ugo Chinyere in Imo, another in Kano, affirms Senator Abba Moro in Benue State. All right, a lot of stories in front of the paper. And in the sacking of all the, there's something, in fact, I saw something and I was like, it seems there are a particular political party that they want to flush out all all the people that won initially to fix people that they want to be fixed there. That was just my thinking anyway. But the rate at which parties or people that won the House of Representatives and the Senate are being pushed away these days, you begin to wonder what actually is going on.
So for us, in Nigeria, we have always argued the integrity of the court.
And even the reasons given, you know.
We have always argued the integrity of the court. And the good thing is virtually the situation that are brought before the court is the claim of virtually all the litigants. They are talking about the non-compliance of INEC. They are talking about the usage of IREV and BVAS. They are talking about collation. So, and this is also the issue at the presidential level, maybe outside the case of legitimacy.
You know what my 13-year-old daughter said when I saw one of the stories? He said, Mommy, that this is the same reason they pursued someone.
Exactly. They are not trying to. So it's interesting this thing is happening in Nigeria, despite our constant call that the judiciary should understand that they are the last hope of the common man, as they have always said. And the judiciary should be made to see that they have that responsibility to sustain the law. Unfortunately, let us even start from what even made us to be where we are. I wonder why INEC, despite the promises they made, would even make us get to this position where number of cases are being sent to the court and then allowing the court to decide who the masses want. I mean, these things should really be a seamless operation. But this calls for serious self-introspection by INEC. That is why they really, despite the taxpayers' money that has been spent trying to make sure that 2023 election was successful, this is where we have found ourselves. If they are not ready, we are not yet in a society where people who feel they are either under pressure or they are not performing can honorably resign. For me, I think we should get to that stage so that we can do ourselves a lot of good. During Obasanjo's era, James Ibori had a case in Nigeria. Even Alamiesie, they had a case in Nigeria. The court dismissed Alamiesie. He went to London, and the same case, he was found culpable. They then see the case of Ekweremadu, even though it's a sad one. If it was in Nigeria, I wonder the kind of judgment he would have gotten. So that is interesting.
And now our own has shifted to
Thank
US.
you. That is why I am very much interested to see the outcome of Atiku and Tinubu's case in the US. Because that is where we know that we can see fair reasoning. A reasoning that people would say, okay, it is justifiable enough, and not in Nigeria. Unfortunately, when you come to the law, people, especially corrupt individuals, have a part that they can actually pull up to protect their interests. But if they are in for rule of law, I bet you, when they pass their judgment, everybody would know that judgment has been made. Just like when the judgment was passed on the 6th, the environment everywhere was cold. But why there are those who are rejoicing, I know. But what we want in Nigeria is for things to go on well, because election has consequences. Even this judgment have consequences. And for Nigeria to break, or for us to break Nigeria or make Nigeria, a lot depends on the kind of decisions we make. And people cannot be making irrational decisions and expect that things will be going on well, because it will affect the education sector, it will affect the health sector, it will even affect our common living. When people don't have faith in a system, I think the masses are expecting the judges to do the right thing. It would also see it's unfortunate now that the world leaders went to G20 being hosted by India. And instead of Nigerians to be expectant, knowing what would be coming back home, some people are looking at the president to see if he's discussing with some other world leaders and then they're making a caricature of the whole situation, that is to make us understand that he lacks legitimacy. All these things are really avoidable. But for the fact that we have gotten ourselves to this position, we are looking at the court to do the right thing. But as always, we are only just knowing to the extent of rot Nigeria is. We saw that during the primaries. We saw that during the election. Now the judiciary, we are seeing it. We also see it even in the operations of the law enforcement agencies. We are seeing all this. And no, when it goes contrary and the people rejoice, they should not say that these people are daft, because I think what everybody wants is a better system.
All right,
and
let's run.
It is being provided by following the rule of law.
The rule of law. All right, let's run. Let's see the new National Star. Let's see stories making their headlines in front of the new National Star. Nigerians want change to happen quickly. Abdulsalami tells Tinubu, says president facing very difficult situation. Governors get 7-day ultimatum to account for 2 billion naira palliative spending. Tinubu visits Abu Dhabi on bilateral engagement. And the LEA dismantles 13 drug joints, seizes 685.1796 kilogram illicit drugs in Kaduna. FG has secured $16.3 million ADB loan for wheat production. 26 bodies recovered, 44 missing in Niger boat mishap. Emefiele DSS arrest grills CBN Deputy Governor Ahmad over alleged fraud. G20 Biden lauds Tinubu, reiterates America's commitment to democracy in Africa. We also see Catholic bishops express concern over future of Beavers IREV, and we can see them in front of the paper. That's the conference of bishops they had in Abuja recently. Now, second, Niger Bridge robbers jailed as police arraigned 33 caught suspects. Morocco, rescue efforts continue as over 2,100 die from earthquake. Now, an AFCON qualifier, Osimhen's hat-tricks ends Nigeria 6-0 victory over Sao Tome. All right, so a lot of stories in front of that paper. I think we have to look at the banner headlines where Nigerians, Abdulsalami is telling Tinubu that Nigeria wants quick change. They want change to happen immediately. And of course, the ultimatum given to governors of all the states to account for 2 billion naira per day. I think it's Serap that is telling them that.
It is Serap. For me, I think everything that happens in a nation, as when it has to do with democracy, are all interconnected, starting from the election, starting from the way the governance system operates, and how the citizens hold the government accountable. It's not even, I'm telling the president, Tinubu, that Nigeria wants change. For me, if I'm to say, I would say Nigeria wanted change, really, because it is long overdue. And we want sometimes what keeps us going is hope. And that hope is seen in the actions and inactions of the government. Yes, it is good that Emefiele is being queried, but why do it as if you are witch hunting him? It is also good that these conversations are coming up, but we know that there were those who gave him that order concerning what he did. So for us to see that things are happening, it means that beyond Emefiele being brought to questioning, those ahead of him, those his ogas in quote, should also be brought into questioning. These are little things that will be seen, and then we know that change that we are looking for is happening. But when a selected few, maybe because they are from a particular minority group or a particular part of the country, are being witch hunted, and then you expect that we are seeing that change, I don't think it's happening. Then going to Serap telling the governors to really tell us about how they are spreading the palliative. It is high time, when government is working, they should also incorporate into their plan monitoring and evaluation, which in quote has to do with accountability. They should let the citizens know. I know the governor would always say that if it is not measurable, then he cannot say if it's achievable. How many people are they giving this to? These are the people that are getting it. It really helps the system. I don't see why Nigerians and our political leaders will continue to live a life of secrecy.
It will equally build the confidence
It
of
will
the
build
citizens.
confidence, and it will even make those, the governor, the governors may have good intention, but if along the line those implementing that palliative program, one person has a negative intention, it can spoil the entire system or the entire process. So, but making all this open really goes a long way. So, I think this is for us to also use this opportunity to make the governors of Nigeria to see the need to always be accountable to the people. I mean, they have a lot of things that they can do to earn their living. We have many governors in the past. After all the money that they have amassed, where are they? So I think they should begin to ask themselves that question. They should work on their inordinate greed to amass wealth. And this is always, I would continue to say, that is why when we go to the healthcare centers, they are not functional, because some of the resources that should be used to take care of these healthcare facilities are not being plunged into it. Even when they are plunged into it, because there is already a kind of secrecy at palliative distribution. When it trickles down, people also take it as usual, and they squash or they slash the money. Before you see it, if you come to the education sector, students are sitting on the ground. Those persons with disability cannot even access education because they don't have money to go to school, and their parents cannot take care of them. Then the government is also abandoning them. Whereas there are low-hanging funds that are coming up that can be used to take care of all these things. So I think SERAP is always good at calling the government. Unfortunately, they can only hold them accountable using social cohesion. It is now left for these political leaders to begin to walk the talk. Then that is when we know that Nigeria that we are looking for, we are gradually achieving it.
All right, now let's begin to take the papers two at a time for want of time. Now, we have the Daily Times and the Punch to look at together. Huge row over demolition of former First Lady's 1 billion naira plaza. That's in front of the Daily Times newspaper. We have riders there. They came with talks. Police at night says aid. Victims, senator husband, governor in same APC. Building violated Ogun laws. Government speaking. Yoruba safer under Buhari than Tinubu as PDP chieftain. Also in front of the Daily Times, we have 24 perished in another boat mishap in Niger State. FG secures 163 million AFB loan for wheat production. Report ranks 4 South states low on budget transparency. Give more scholarships to our indigent medical students. Bauchi tells Algeria. LP lawyers speak on controversy on certified true copy of PAPC judgment. NGX investors' wealth grew by 337 billion naira in 1 week. PAPC judgment propels all share index to new high. All right, quickly, let's see the stories in front of the Punch newspaper. National Assembly polls tribunals to decide 400 cases and sittings. With riders there, 7 Delta reps, others to no fate this week. Tribunals sack Kanu NNPP lawmaker, Imo PDP rep. Plateau governor gets verdict today as tribunals decide poll petition in more states. Morocco earthquake victims rise to 2,122, children worst hate. Ogun ex-governor Daniel's wife clash over plaza demolition. And the LES seizes 399 explosive illicit drugs, grandma, others arrested, 24 dead, 30 rescued in Niger boat accident. All right, okay, banks, bad loans hit 478 billion naira amid economic downturn. States get 1.5 trillion naira FAC allocation in 6 months. That's report from NAITI. Federal government foreign airlines meet as flight disruptions worsen. Okay, a lot of stories, and we can see the picture in front of that paper. What a sad day for families in Morocco, that lost their loved ones. They say that the death rise has risen to 2,122.
It is actually a sad one, really. And when I saw that news 2 days ago, what came to my mind is Morocco is in Africa. And most times when we hear of earthquake, it happens usually at the European poles, European continent. But Morocco is in Africa, and Nigeria is in Africa. Who knows when this earthquake would eventually get to Nigeria? That it has not been happening does not mean it will never happen, even though we are not praying for that. Because I studied geology, and then I know the geotectonic plate movement. Nobody knows when it happens, and then we are not really good at even keeping data to know the trend.
And do you think that human activity
over time, of course, it does.
Because I've heard something about this indiscriminate
borehole sinking.
These are
issues. So these are issues that really cause, because generally the earth movement, there is always a movement in the earth. So where it sees fractures, then that is where it takes, and nobody knows the outcome. But we have our own mini earthquake. The erosion that is going on in Nigeria is also a serious issue that we should be taking care of. And I think we should use this erosion to know how to respond to emergencies, how much more when this kind of massive earthquake begin to happen, because this one's a natural occurrence.
And if we can also look at this story of demolition of former...
I was coming to that. When people are in government, they think they are alpha and omega. We are not trying to excuse rascality, really. And Nigeria should begin to work by rules and laws. We will keep saying this. We cannot underestimate the importance of working by rules and laws.
Because if you're protected today,
tomorrow you will be weak, you will be open, you will be vulnerable. There was a case, a video clip of Emefiele one time saying, if you want to fight, bring it on. Then he was the alpha and the omega. Today he's carrying a Bible, not trying to mock him. But that apart, if Nigeria is a country that is governed by rules and laws, then the ex-governor's wife would not have even erected that building if at all it is at an illegal place in the first place. Now, why should Nigerians always be thinking of destroy, destroy, destroy? Do you know how much that was used to erect that building, that plaza, and now it has gone up, they've brought it down? That money would have been used to fix our primary health care centers. That money would have been used to equip Nigeria's educational system, maybe paying the teachers infrastructure-wise, but that's gone. Because it is public money, we cannot account for it. This is the cost of governance we are talking about. And then going down again, I think I'm becoming more interested to really see the tribunal's case that you talked about, to see the number of cases the number of people that were dismissed by the tribunal, and those that were sustained by the tribunal, to know their party.
400 cases.
No, to know their parties.
That means everybody went to court.
Yeah, that almost, yes. I want to know their parties so that I would know, okay, this party was removed. This number of party was removed by the... Because if you go through the case lines, they're almost all the same. So why will this number of parties be removed, and then why will this number of parties be sustained? It's going to be an interesting revelation that we would have.
All right, let's run the Daily Independent newspaper. We take the Daily Independent and the Nation. Let's see the Daily Independent first. Debt overhang, rising inflation may impede Nigeria's economic rebirth. Deleke has proved critics wrong by being a dancing working governor. That's coming from Obasanjo. Serap gives governors 7 days to disclose spending details of 2 billion naira palliative. Tinubu woos Volkswagen others back to Nigeria after meeting German Chancellor others. Shetima reveals federal government's $163 million AFDB loan is for wheat production. Palliatives will continue until citizens' hardship is addressed. That's coming from Minister. Nigerians want change to happen quickly, says Abdulsalami. Also, in front of the Daily Independent, 36 states received 1.51 trillion. We've seen that before. Ogun demolishes Benga Daniels' wife's plaza. Okay, we've seen that. Pep judgment, LP frowns at Tinubu's Lego team's imprint on CTCs. We tried that they asked PPC, APC to explain imprint to Nigerians. Also in front of the Nation newspaper, the story is Tinubu strikes multiple deals with Germany, Korea, India. We have riders there. World leaders pledge more interest in agriculture, fintech, education, defense. German Chancellor for Nigeria next month. President in UAE to resolve bilateral disagreements. British warship in Lagos. President fair to Igbo with appointment, says Soludo. That's president is fair to Igbo with appointment, says Soludo. Acquisition of banks, CBN deputy governor quizzed. United Nigeria 6 slots into London, Dubai, other routes. Ogun government, Daniel's wife clash over vandalized plaza. Okay, we've taken the two papers. Let's see which of the stories we are analyzing.
Okay, let me just quickly talk on the Nation. United Nigeria 6 slots into London, Dubai, and other routes. This is a time where we are talking about Africa Continental Free Trade, where we are trying to link Africa together. So why the likes of United Nigeria, Air Peace, and others are going outside Africa, they should also consider inter-Africa movement, because we want, I mean, all through our lives, we have always been in Nigeria. We might not necessarily want to be fighting to go to Europe, but sometimes we would also want to go on vacation, if it is to Morocco, if it is to Ghana, if it is to Niger, if it is to Algeria. And sometimes it is the connecting flight that might be a challenge. So United Nigeria considering going to London, well, they are businessmen, and then they'll be looking at where they'll be making their money. But I think African Continental Free Trade Initiative gives them that opportunity to consider extending their services to other African nations, while we continue to look at how to strengthen trade deals in those African countries, because there are also areas to visit.
Okay.
That said, let's still come back to the governor of Anambra State commending the president for being fair to Ndigo. Well, he's entitled to his opinion, and if you go to the streets, I am sure that many average Igbo man would have a contrary opinion to that. But, well, in politics, sometimes people say things to continue to advance their cause, really. But I don't even think we should be in a situation where we are thanking a leader, whether from Igbo extraction or not, that they are being fair to a particular tribe. No matter the position that we get, governance is for all. We don't look at anybody. Like the former president, we kept telling him that he is the president of all Nigerians, and he should leave that his 97% and 5% calculation. It was not really going to work. And that this is where we are. We have gone years back, economically, politically, security-wise in Nigeria because of those sentiments.
And I think we are bouncing back, you know.
Well,
Germany is coming with Volkswagen.
For me, the former governor of Anambra State had a lot of MOUs. How many of them were signed? So it is one thing to say they are coming. Until we see them, until they start up, then that is where we know that we are making.
We start feeling the
that is where we
all
know
right,
that
let's see the Guardian and the Vanguard together. Let's see the Guardian. The falling consumption, weak sales threaten FMGG business jobs. Now, other stories there. LP seeks clarity from PEPC over judgment copies issued to APC. Catholic bishops decry worsening hardship in Nigeria. Forget ballots, pay living wage. NLC tells government. Bailout, sorry. Forget bailouts, pay living wage. NLC tells government how endless internal rows diminish status of once revered NBA. Wow, okay, we move on now to the next paper, which is the Vanguard newspaper. Fresh inflation fears as top firms lose 656 billion naira to forex wars. We have riders there. Losses in leading quoted companies rise 709% to 656 billion naira. All sectors loses in excess of 3 trillion naira. They will transfer losses to consumers. Analysts say this may stoke next round of inflation. Also in front of the paper, fee varsities in desperate situation, difficult to retain old rates. Unilag VC. PEPT must explain Tinubu's imprint on judgment. United Nigeria Airlines gets approval for direct flights to USA, Europe, Middle East. Morocco quake rescuers comb rubble for survivors as death toll hits 2,122. Anguish, chaos, gridlock over relocation of airlines. Controversy trails sale of any onshore oil assets to Oando. 26 die in Niger boat mishap, several others missing, and other stories in front of the paper. Let's run. What are you thinking?
So it's not surprising that we are talking about failing consumption and then weak sales, which is a serious threat to FMCG businesses and jobs. In a Nigeria where purchasing power is low, what do you expect? Many people are going home and going to sleep, going to bed hungry, and the money is not circulating. Yet we have a government that keep talking about palliative. For this palliative that they are sharing, I bet you, like SEDAP has called the both federal government and state governments that we are interested to know how they are really spending this palliative. We should really be thinking more about plunging or diverting this money to economic well-being. What stops the country? I know Governor Oti of Abia State clearly told people from Abia that their own palliative money will be put, majority of it will be used for road construction because Aba has been in deplorable state. Mm-hmm. These things are all connected. So we cannot be complaining that the people are hungry and they are giving them, you call 2 billion, I think it's money. By the time you would have shared it and the one that would be siphoned would be siphoned, you know that what people are going home with would just be 2,000 naira. So, or 5,000 naira, at most 50,000 naira. What would this amount of money get an average Nigerian when they go to the market? You see further that everything is nothing. So for me, if I am to give the government a free advice, why don't they have a more of a pool, train youths, and beyond training youth and giving them that fund, maybe in agriculture, should use it and ensure that the states benefits from it and not just giving handouts.
All right, a lot needs to be done in so many areas in this nation, and I think that's the much time could allow us take on the press review this morning. Would like to thank you so much, Ololo, for being here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, that's just about it on the press review this morning. We have other things on Good Morning Anambra Show. Do stay.